So this past weekend, like May 31st to like June 2nd, I think it was like June 2nd, was yesterday June 2nd? Anyways, Nandai Bamco, bro, what? Bandai Namco dropped the Code Vein beta network test a few weeks ago or a month ago. I actually don't know how long ago they actually started it up, but they had sign-ups for the network test. I signed up, they slid me a code. Thank you, Bandai Namco, for the code. And I just kind of want to talk about my experience with the beta, things I liked, some things I didn't like. You know, at the end, I'll, package it all together and decide whether I'll end up picking up the game, whether you should pick up the game, or, whether Bandai Namco, y'all want to slide me a review copy, because if y'all do that, I definitely will play the game. Besides the point, I just want to talk about the Code Vein beta and what I enjoyed about it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get into that. This review, it's not really a review, but it's kind of review. You know what I mean. So there wasn't much to the story. It kind of had a very, basic premise. It kind of like laid the groundwork for what the story is going to be in the full game, but it doesn't really go into too much deep detail here. You meet a few characters and, you have a few cutscenes, but it's not really anything, that's going to help you know more about the game in the future than what other people are going to know that weren't in the network test. Like, it's not going to be game changing for you or like an advantage for when the game actually starts. Visually, the environments, they look great. The coloring tone fits very well. The environments look good. The cave, looks like the cave. The city, well, it looks like a city. But I actually really like the horizon, being able to look off into the distance. I like the sky coloring. The tone just fits very well. Like, the effects from the attacks are visually pleasing. It actually looks like you're attacking the enemies, which is good. The characters look like they fit in the world, which is something you don't really think about when you're playing a game, but it's good that the characters actually look like they belong in this game. And I very rarely had any frame drops. When there were like a lot of enemies on screen, obviously there was a little bit of frame dropping, but for the most part, I really didn't have any trouble visually from what this beta had to offer. So I've never really been a huge fan personally of the Dark Souls type of games, that genre, because the pace has always seemed kind of slow to me. But this beta, it had a decent little pacing to it. There was fun experimenting with the different classes and abilities. Obviously, with the different classes, you have your magic-based classes, your physical-based classes, your support classes, some that are good with specific abilities. You have your balance classes, the whole 9 yards, man. I think in the beta, I didn't actually count it up. I want to say there was like 8 or 9 classes, maybe 7, that you could choose from. And that's just the beta, right? And they all had different unique abilities and things like that you could equip. So I know that the full game is going to have even more. I'm very much so expecting the full game to have even more classes you could choose from. Considering that the 7 that they already had were pretty unique. And there was a variety of different weapons that you could also use. I mainly stuck to like the Queen Slaying Blade for mobility, because I just like, being able to slash and get out of the way. But if you like hard hitting weapons, there was some hammers. If you like fighting from a distance, there was weapons for that as well. But I know that the full game will probably have even more weapons, so I'm not worried about that. The missiles, they're a pretty solid checkpoint system. At the missiles, you can level up your character, you can heal up, you can switch partners, you can teleport to other missiles, you can quit the game, and you can unlock new abilities with Haze. They're pretty hard to miss. Most of them you're gonna have to activate, but some of them are already activated by the time you get to them. So it's a pretty solid system. Haze is like the currency for Code Vein, right? It's like the money. You can use it to buy weapons, you can buy clothes, items, you can upgrade your abilities, right? There's a lot of things you can do with Haze, so you have to be able to manage it pretty well. I'm guessing in the full game, you're not going to be able to just, spend it willy-nilly. You're going to have to be able to use it when necessary. That way you can have the best chance at completing the game. And ultimately, Code Vein is not your simple hack and slash game. Again, it's like a Dark Souls type of game. You've got to be patient. You got to be smart with your attacking, your dodging, your approaching. You can't just go in there and start slashing. On the lower level enemies, you can go in there and just go ham. But when you start facing some stronger enemies and some bosses, you're not just going to be able to go in there and just start slashing away and get the victory. Otherwise, you will pay for it. And some of the enemies drop from the ceiling, which definitely caused a few jump scares from me. So you really got to be aware of your surroundings. I remember playing through the beta and them little purple blobs, bro, I would not be looking up at the ceiling and they would just fall down. And I'm telling you, I would jump out of my chair, or like them big old white enemies, they would be like clinged into the ceiling, and like if you weren't paying attention, they would just drop down on you. Anyways, you need to be aware of your surroundings, bro. Otherwise, you're gonna have quite a few jump scares, and you're gonna be scared pretty much the whole time you're playing the game. As soon as I booted up the beta, I pretty much knew that customization was gonna be a selling point, a big selling point of this game, because the customization is very extensive, which isn't that surprising considering this is the God Eater team that put this game together. And in those games, you have pretty extensive customization as well. But there were plenty of options for hair, clothing, masks, accessories, earrings, armbands. You had just a lot of things you could really choose from, honestly. Scars, colors for your hair, bro. There were so many colors for your hair and your clothes. Like, I didn't even know a lot of these colors even existed. Like, you could find any color that ever existed. I promise you they have it in here, right? The customization in this game, I know it's just gonna get even better in the full game, or I assume that it'll probably get even better for the full game. So if customization is a big factor for you, I'm telling you, this game has that crossed off the list. You don't have to worry about it. And I mean, just the chances of you and another character looking similar is just very, very slim, unless you just have, you know, similar taste and style, which even then you probably would still look different. There was also an online for the beta. I didn't play online because I didn't grind up like I should have. Like, I only ended up at like level 13, I think, or 14. I didn't end up high enough to really go online and do damage, so I just kind of stayed offline. I played a lot the first day, but I didn't play too much over the rest of the weekend, and I got back on yesterday to get some footage for this video. My friend Jemmer, he actually has some online footage in one of his streams that he posted, so you could probably go on his channel. I'll definitely have that linked in the description. You can go on and see how the online works. I was going to play online with them, but let's just say I would have got worked if I went online. So I decided to forgo that. But you can definitely go on there. The online looks fun. It looks like it'll be a unique experience to play with your friends and things like that. Team up, take down some strong enemies, some strong bosses and things like that, you know? It's online. Ultimately, I think if you like the Dark Souls genre, then this should be an immediate cop for you, man. It's more than just anime Dark Souls, right? It's similar, but it's different, you know, and I think it really allows for a mostly new experience throughout the game, the story, things like that, some of the abilities, just how the game works all together. Again, personally, I've never really been a fan of the genre, of the Dark Souls type genre, but I'm highly considering Code Vein to be my first true step into the Souls category of gaming. Overall, it was a solid beta, a solid network test. I appreciate Bandai Namco for the code, I really do. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. I am very happy I got to receive a Code Vein code. I'm sorry, I really couldn't help it, man. I really shouldn't have said that. But anyways, that's all I have for today, man. I appreciate you guys sticking around, and yeah, that's it. Deuces.